Hello everyone, this is G and I'm back with a new video, a proper video. My video sort of calling out LGG stands notwithstanding. So given that it's late, I wanted to end the night on a proper video. I have to get around to finishing up my Samara series. My laptop is just giving me fits today, so this is the only other avenue available to me. But anyway, here's the video. So, here's the thing. I have to actually thank the gentlemen at Crimson Sin for this video because they're the ones who got me thinking on it, though I don't think that was their intention. But anyway, so to recap a little bit. Crimson Sin has been doing an episode-by-episode review of ThunderCats Roar. I did my review in early January when it first came out. I watched the first 2 episodes, I believe it was. Hate it. Made a video about why I hate it. Haven't watched it since. Now, I wasn't intending to watch this review because I don't like ThunderCats Roar. And as much as I like Crimson, I hate that show even more. But I ended up... It's one of those things where, like, stuff is playing in the background and you're not quite paying attention. And so I ended up unintentionally on this video. And the episode that Crimson reviewed is the Cheetara-centric episode, where, at least from best I can tell, she goes, she goes back to the 80s, and she somehow becomes a businesswoman, and all this other zaniness that really doesn't make any sense and doesn't really fit in a show about Thundercats. Why in the world is she in the 80s business world wearing power suits and all this stuff? But what it got me thinking about was the idea of female empowerment and what that is, or what that could be perceived as. Because something I have often ranted about in my videos is how women, female characters, in particular female characters who were very beautiful and very feminine, such as Captain Marvel, back when she was Miss Marvel, or She-Hulk, and several other different characters, but in particular those two, right? How they've been masculinized in the comics over the years, and then of course with the movies, you have films like, say, Charlie's Angels, which traded in the franchise's signature flirtiness and femininity, and instead try to do this very, you know, macho, masculine action movie thing. So it made me think about this. On top of that, given that there's several scenes where Cheetara is in a power suit, it also made me think of Taylor Swift's The Man video, because of the fact that, first of all, that song in that video irritates the bejesus out of me. But also because the premise of that video and of that song is, would Taylor Swift be where she is today, right? Would she have gotten here faster? Would she have gotten here easier if she had been a man, right? Which I personally think is an asinine question, given that she broke into the music scene as a country artist and then transitioned to pop. Country and pop are like 2 of the genres that have, at least as long as I've been around, have always had a strong female presence, right? In country, you think of artists like Dolly Parton, Reba McEntire, Bonnie Raitt. If you want to go into the 1990s, probably the biggest female country act at that time was Shania Twain, who, like Taylor, transitioned into the pop scene and whatnot. Then you have like Leanne Womack and a lot of other female stars. What's her name? Trisha Yearwood, I think it is. She had an affair with like Garth Brooks, and then she ended up marrying him. I think it's Trisha Yearwood. So all those type of artists, and then of course, you know, pop has you know, it has Madonna, it has Whitney Houston, it has Mariah Carey, and it has Beyonce and Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears and Lady Gaga and so many artists prior to them. So for her to ask this question, would I have made it better or faster if I were a man. It's like you have plenty of examples of women who embraced their femininity and still made it to the top of the charts and to the top of the music industry as women. But it made me think about this idea of female empowerment and how, whether it's through what we're seeing with like ThunderCats, right, with taking Cheetara, who was the only girl on the team, right, the only girl among the ThunderCats, and making her basically an honorary man in her design, right? They give her this like singlet to wear instead of a leotard. She has this very short haircut, just this very masculine looking face and demeanor and personality. You also see it in She-Ra in the Princesses of Power. In particular, the lead character of She-Ra went from being the beautiful feminine ideal to being this very androgynous and at times masculinized character, right? So, and again, I mentioned She-Hulk and Captain Marvel, so this has been going on for a while now. So, here's my thing, and if you've seen my other videos, you already know probably what I'm going to say, but women don't have to be like or emulate men to be successful. We don't have to copy men, right, and try to be powerful in the way they are to be strong, right? Now, it's one thing if you, as a woman, naturally just happen to have a more masculine personality. That probably makes you a tomboy. Welcome to the club. But if you are the type of woman who wants to embrace her femininity and wants to display that in the way you dress or the way you style your hair and the way you look and the way you present yourself to the world, you should be able to without fear of consequence, without fear of being judged, right? It used to be, not to say that things were perfect or that it was easy, but it used to be that, at least in my opinion, we seem to be moving more and more toward openness and acceptance, right? Everybody can come to the cookout. It doesn't matter if you're a girly girl or a tomboy, or you're not quite sure about your gender, or you're this, or you're that. So long as everybody, was just here to have fun, right? Was there for a common goal and purpose, everybody could come in. And now we just have so many divisions up, right? And in my opinion, so much erasure. Because look, I'm all for tomboy characters, right? If you give me a choice between reading about, say, Wonder Woman and then reading about, say, Big Barda, I'm going to choose Barda every time. Barda or Hawk Girl or Artemis. Those characters speak to me a bit more. But just because I'm more likely to read their stories doesn't mean that Wonder Woman's story shouldn't be told. Right? And what frustrates me is that to make space, right, for the tomboys, which were always around. It's not as if it's a new concept. Heck, tomboy isn't even really referring to gender. It was more reference to behavior and personality, having a rowdy, rough and tough personality. That's where the term comes from. It used to be used for boys also, because tomboy comes from the term tomcat, right? But anyway, meaning of words change over time, as we all know. But to make room for the tomboys, we've had to sort of like push the girly girls away, or the feminine ideal is probably the better example, away. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with pushing the feminine ideal out just to have the non-traditional woman. They can exist in the same space. They do in the real world. I'm a tomboy and my mother is a girly girl. She tried to raise me into a girly girl. She learned very early that wasn't me. You give me a Barbie doll, I tear the head off and demand Rock'em Sock'em robots. And she learned quickly. My daughter is a tomboy, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine and acceptable. It's perfectly fine if you as a woman, right, are feminine. And it's perfectly fine if you as a woman are masculine. And it's perfectly fine if you as a woman are somewhere in between. Maybe there are some instances where you play up your femininity. Maybe there are some instances where you play it down, or you play up the more masculine side of your personality. People are dynamic, right? A woman can wear a skirt suit to work, and then she can dress in a t-shirt, jeans, leather jacket, and go ride on a motorcycle. That's the beauty of being a dynamic person. There are sides and layers to you. You don't have to fit perfectly into this one box or into this one label. But anyway, I'm just so tired of just this idea of the only way a female in media, it seems, can be presented as strong or as capable is if she's presented in this overly masculine fashion. Because this goes beyond being a tomboy. It goes beyond being a masculine woman, right? Sarah Connor is a masculine woman, but she's still a woman, right? Zarya from Overwatch is a masculine woman, but still a woman. We are now talking about female characters who are honorary men. Captain Marvel, outside of, again, being drawn female, is a dude. She behaves like a guy. And what's worse is that she behaves like a caricature of a hot-tempered man. Same thing with She-Hulk. They took a woman who basically had the physique of Miss Olympia, right? Of the 80s feminine bodybuilder ideal, and turned her into a female bodybuilder on steroids. That's not appealing. It's not visually appealing. And more importantly, just like you don't have to abuse steroids to win Miss Olympia, because the first Miss Olympia didn't abuse steroids and she won, right? You don't have to do all this stuff to come across as a dude. Whether it's wearing these masculinizing power suits that were popular several decades ago, or taking steroids, or behaving in this overly aggressive, supposedly masculine way to be a woman. Men and women are different. We don't have to behave like each other to get by or to get ahead, right? So it's just really, for me, it's just really frustrating, this message being sent out in the media that if you are a woman and you want to be ahead and you want to be successful, you must turn into a man in all ways but one. In all ways except actually transitioning. And I'm like, no, you don't. If you want to succeed, you need to have talent, you need to have skill, you need to work at your craft, you need no small amount of luck, a lot of good connections, but you don't need to be a guy. You don't need to be a female man, right? To be a powerful woman. If you are the type of woman who embraces her femininity, then go on and do that. If you're the type of woman who maybe you don't flaunt it that much, that's fine too. But we don't have to change ourselves and make ourselves pseudo-honorary men just to fit into man's world. I'm a gamer, for crying out loud. You don't get more man's world than that. I've never had to hide my gender. I have a unisex name, and sometimes people call me John. But I've never had to hide my gender to fit in. Because I'm very fortunate in that the majority of the men and the majority of the people I've encountered in the gaming space over the years respect me for me. I was never asked by a guy to be more like a dude. If anything, I get questions like, the few questions I get is like, surprised a girl is here. It's like, well, yeah, I was here before you, Chief. I got here first. Now, sit down. I'm gonna teach you something, like that super combo in Street Fighter 2, because you don't know what the hell you're doing. But anyway, so that was just it. That was just some of the thoughts that I had. Right. Long story short. If you're a woman, embrace the fact that you're a woman, and however which way you are a woman, right? I'm a tomboy, but I'm still a woman. I had a cousin growing up that was a girly girl. She's still a woman. In fact, she went on to have kids, and that's something I decided to pass on because it's not a role in life that I wanted. But it doesn't make either one of us more or less female than the other. We're just two women who are of different personalities and took different roads in life. And that's okay. Neither one of us are pseudo honorary dudes just because we chose different life paths. And I really think that in the media, this idea of a woman having to emulate a man to come across as strong really comes from a position of weakness. I don't know if they're aware of it or not. Hollywood is so agenda-driven, I don't think they can see the forest for the trees. But in my opinion, it says a lot how much they think of women and how little they value women and the inherent femininity and just the inherent differences in women. That the only way they can portray a strong woman these days is to masculinize her. Is to send this message, whether they realize it or not, of if you want to be strong, you must be a dude. And then again, Hollywood's 50 Shades of effed up, as as a certain Christian Grey would say. But anyhow, that's the video. Let me know what you think, and I'll be back probably tomorrow with some more vids. I got some stuff to do. I must go be a responsible adult at some point. But anyhow, I'll see you guys around. Have a good night or a good day. Be happy, be healthy, be safe, wash your hands, and yeah, take care of yourselves. See you around. Bye.